Some illegals were also arrested in that search, and tomorrow government officials will respond to allegations of corruption, inhumane treatment, brutality, and other charges made by an inmate at the Grand Turk prison. It was a scathing report, and it was published in the weekly newspaper. We'll bring you their explanations. In the meantime, 110 years is a long time, and on its birthday, telecommunications giants, cable and wireless, was in a giving mood. It continued into Friday. Angie Toussaint explains.
3 scholarships, one for the top boy in GSAT, the top performing girl, and the top performing student at the Osita Jolly Primary School. That is the type of support Cable and Wireless has promised to Education Department, to various schools, and to hundreds of students and parents in the Turks and Caicos at the recent founding of the Cable and Wireless Scholarship Foundation. The ceremony featured the Minister of Education, Honorable Dr. Carlton Mills, various representatives from the Education Department, teachers, principals, CE of Cable and Wireless, and staff.
When I sat back and I listened to all the remarks that were made, oh my gosh. And I thought about myself really. I graduated from high school in 1985. And at that time, the government was not giving any scholarships. They really, in fact, if they were, it was just to a select few. And we didn't have any money growing up. My father was a carpenter, and my mother worked at the fishing plant. And so it looked impossible for me to achieve tertiary education. And so we went back to school for another year, because at that time, you were allowed to go to school for another year. And it so happened during that year, a scholarship actually became available, and it was from actually tourists that visit Turks and Caicos Islands. And it so happened that I was able to be the first recipient of that scholarship. And so I think that anyone that could really help someone, they should help someone.
Seymour commended the Cable and Wireless chain for their continued support of community projects.
A full scholarship will also be provided to the most outstanding student of Osita Jolly at the grade 6 achievement test, provided the student obtains a grade of 75% or more. This is an annual scholarship, so we'll have 3 students this year, we'll have 3 students next year. It's a continuous
The Minister of Education, Honorable Dr. Carlton Mills, called the initiative a great milestone and a great way to move forward in education.
And again, Mr. Seymour, we want to say thanks to you and Cable and Wireless for taking the lead where this is concerned. You are a leading example.
The scholarships will be given to students on the way to secondary schools, to the top boy and girl student from the grade 6 achievement test, a nationally administered examination open to public and private schools. The minister talked about advancement in education.
Education is the way forward for the Turks and Caicos Islands. We are now in the process of building modern schools here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. We're going to shortly be constructing a new primary school in the Long Bay area. And ladies and gentlemen, when that facility is completed, it will not only be state-of-the-art, but it will be one of the best institutions in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Others who spoke urged Seymour to consider students who show interest and participation in extracurricular activities like sports, clubs, and the student body. They called for an evaluation of the student's character.
We are committed and we are dedicated to advancing education in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
The schools considered for the scholarship program are Wesley Methodist, the British Collegiate, Maranatha High, Whole Gospel and Christian Academy, New Age Academy, and government high schools throughout the Turks and Caicos Islands. Seymour talked about the terms to the audience.
The scholarship will include full tuition and books. Now, if so happens that the student is on another island, then There are no private schools on that island, but it's up to the student. If they want to come to Provo to go to high school, that's no problem. Continuation of the scholarship. Now, even though you'll get a scholarship, the scholarship will continue for 5 years, but it must be based on satisfactory academic performance. You must maintain at least B average or a grade point average of 3. Those schools that are using the 4.0 scale. You also must have a very good behavioral report. And I'll add those other points that Mrs. Fulford added, the involvement in school, such as sports, and having a positive attitude. Hopefully the positive attitude relates to the behavior, hopefully.